Hi everyone, and welcome to my corner of the internet, where I talk about life, magic, and everything in between. My name's Bea, and today's topic is inspired by my 30th birthday that's coming up. Yes, I'm turning 30 this month, which is a really big deal. It's a really cool milestone to hit, but with this milestone has come a lot of self-reflection and kind of introspection. And I'm pretty introspective around my birthdays, just like in general. But I feel like turning 30 has turned it up like 3 notches, and I'm like exponentially more introspective than I've ever been before. So I wanted to gather some of my thoughts and the lessons I've learned over the years and share them with you guys so that maybe you can implement them in your life or find some wisdom in my ramblings. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about that I learned is that practicing gratitude is an essential part of living a happy and fulfilled life. People talk about gratitude all the time, especially in the mental health space, and there's a reason for that. You know, you could have the best job in the world, you could have the most money in the world, you could have the best partner in the world, but if you don't appreciate those things, then you're basically the same as the person who doesn't have anything. Now, I like to practice gratitude in a pretty simple and like practical way, which is I say 3 things I'm grateful for in the morning and 3 things I'm grateful for at night. And the rule is one of those things has to be really simple. So for example, I'm really grateful for the light that's coming in through the window today. It's really beautiful. I'm really grateful for the wind that's touching my skin right now. Whatever it is, it has to be really small. And if you're sitting there and you're telling yourself that your life is so horrible, that there's nothing that you can be grateful for, force yourself to think about the things that perhaps you're overlooking, because I guarantee there are things that you're overlooking. The second thing I want to talk about is to journal often, because when you put your thoughts to paper, you give your mind space to breathe. I have had a journaling habit on and off throughout my life, and I feel like I really locked in my 20s because I needed it. And I journal at least once a day, maybe even twice a day, and sometimes if I'm going through some type of crisis, I journal throughout the day. My journal has been my friend, my confidant, my therapist in many moments where I needed someone and felt like I was alone. It really took a lot of loneliness away from me and made me feel like someone was really listening. What I love too is that there are so many ways to journal. You can freeform, you can rant, you can look for journal questions like journal prompts on the internet. Whatever the case is, there's so many different ways to journal. You can even get creative and add pictures and make collages when words get really difficult. It's a really great way to clarify your thoughts and get to know yourself. And honestly, I like to write until the noise in my head dies down. The third thing I've learned is to build self-trust by keeping promises that you've made to yourself. So if you've promised yourself that you're going to get up at a certain time, that you're going to go to sleep at a certain time, do it. Follow through on that thought. And over time, you build that trust, and with that comes self-confidence because you'll learn to trust your own word. It's kind of like building a relationship with a friend. If a friend is constantly going back on a promise that they made you, you're going to stop trusting them. But if they keep the promises that they make, then you're going to think of them as a reliable friend. So that's essentially what you're doing within yourself. You're building that friendship with your mind. Once you start to do that, your self-confidence will grow, and eventually you'll trust yourself enough to take on bigger and bigger challenges. The fourth thing I've learned is to stay humble and never stop learning. None of us know everything. And so it is okay to make a mistake or to say, I don't know. Own up to it and learn from it. That's the way to grow, and that's the way to move forward. Because in my opinion, the most dangerous thing to assume is that you know everything. Because then that's when growth stops and arrogance begins. Because nobody knows everything. At the end of the day, we're all human, and making mistakes is just a part of the journey. Learning is a part of the journey. So don't be too hard on yourself when you make mistakes. Own up to any mistake that you make because that's a great learning opportunity, and that means that you're moving forward. The fifth thing I've learned is don't box yourself in. Society does that enough as it is. So we live in a world in which people love to put us in boxes. They love to put us in categories. They love to put labels on us. But the truth is, we're all human. We're multidimensional creatures, and we were not born with a label stapled on our foreheads. We're meant to experience life in all its different aspects. And so don't put yourself in a box just because people think that you're one thing and people think that because of that you can't be another thing. You could be both. You could be both an athlete and a scientist. You could be an artist and an engineer. It doesn't matter. These boxes are just made up. The sooner you realize that, the freer you're going to become. The sixth thing I've learned is that success leaves clues. Learn the habits of who you want to become and slowly implement them into your life. If you want to be a healthy person, learn what healthy habits look for you and then implement them. And slowly but surely, you'll become that person. It sounds almost too simple, but don't overcomplicate the process. The seventh thing I've learned is that stress is a necessary part of life. I know stress has a really bad rap. It's so negative, and trust me, I am a very stressed out person, but I have to remember that stress is just a part of life. In fact, stress actually helps us grow. It's kind of like how muscles work. You have to put your muscle under stress in order for it to grow bigger and stronger. It's the same with your mind. Stress is just helping your mind grow. Now you have to learn to recover. Just like the way you recover with muscles. You have to learn to sleep well, relax, and figure out what helps you de-stress. Stress is not the enemy. In fact, if you're using it correctly, it can help you take on challenges and take on things that you didn't think were even possible. Just remember to take a nap after. The eighth lesson I want to talk about is friends come and go, and it's okay to outgrow those relationships. Now, this one's a little bit of a tough one because friendship breakups really suck. They hurt a lot, and I don't think people talk about it enough. Friendship breakups hurt just as much as romantic breakups, maybe even more. But you can't always grow with everyone. People grow apart, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It doesn't mean you gotta hate them, you gotta burn that bridge. Sometimes you just gotta slowly let it go. Maybe you'll revisit that friendship later on, but right now it's not serving either of you. This has happened to me a lot throughout the years. I feel like I lost touch with a lot of my high school friends, especially throughout college. I didn't talk to any of them. But after college, people moved into my city. I reconnected with some of them, and now they're more regular parts of my life. Friendships come and go. They can come back. They can leave again, and that's okay. No one has to be the bad guy. The ninth thing I've learned is to tell people that you love them, because their presence in your life is not always guaranteed. This is kind of tied to the previous lesson, but I want to go a step further. Life is never guaranteed, and relationships aren't guaranteed either. And so telling people how much they mean to you whenever you get the chance is really important. I personally love to make sure that people in my life know what they mean to me while they're in my life. It gives me peace of mind to know that they know that. And I think it's just a great quality to have as a friend. The 10th thing I've learned is to celebrate your birthday, because getting older is a privilege that's not given to everyone. I feel like in media and in society in general, people look down on getting older. A lot of people hate their birthdays because they don't want their age to go up one more year. But I lost someone very close to me when they were relatively young. And from that point on, I said to myself, I am never going to take a birthday for granted. I'm never going to take the rest of my life for granted because that person didn't get to live out theirs. I know some people think birthdays are just for kids. To celebrate your birthday is like an immature thing to do, but I completely disagree. I think life is to be celebrated. I think life is to be celebrated every day, but I think your birthday should be celebrated even more because that's the day that you entered this world. I mean, how freaking crazy is that? So just remind yourself of this miracle of your existence and celebrate it. Even if it's just for you. Do something that makes you feel loved. Do something that makes you feel happy, excited, whatever it is. But give yourself the space to celebrate your birthday. Lesson number 11. Being lonely is okay, but staying lonely isn't. I've spent a lot of time being single and a lot of time away from my family and a lot of my friends because I live in a different country from them. In fact, I live in a whole different hemisphere from a lot of people that I care about. And there are periods where I've gotten really lonely in my life. At first, it was really tough. It was really tough to deal with. But eventually what I learned is loneliness is a place for you to experience yourself. Loneliness is a place where you can learn what actually fuels you. Who are you when no one's around? Loneliness gives us the chance to explore that and take a deep dive into who we actually are without outside influences. And that can be a real gift. Like I said, being lonely is okay, but staying lonely isn't. Humans are social creatures. We need community. And as someone who loves to be independent and I love being alone, it was a really hard truth for me to swallow. But we all need someone every once in a while, and that's okay. And so enjoy being alone, but work towards creating a community and a support system around you. Lesson number 12. This one is connected to the previous lesson, but it's to decenter romantic love. I think in general we put a pedestal on romantic love, and I'm not knocking on romantic love. I think it's great. I think there are really positive points about it. But there are so many different types of love that we can experience. And to only focus on one type of love is a tragedy. Because love is so much more than that. There's familial love, there's friendship love, platonic love. There's so many different types of love that you can experience with different people or even with the same person. And the more you decenter romantic love in your life, the more your relationships will expand. So don't limit love like that. Love is so much more than just one thing. Lesson number 13, expand your world. Travel and stay open to awe. In my early 20s, I was so stuck in trying to figure out how to survive and learn how to be an adult. I got sort of sucked into the rat race. It's so easy to make your world really small and focus on you the entire time. But remember that the world is massive. People live so many different types of lives all over the world. I think awe is an underrated emotion. In fact, I don't think I've ever heard anybody actually really talk about it. But being in awe and remembering how small you are in this universe is an incredibly humbling and beautiful experience. You'll realize that the stresses that you feel, the problems that you have are minuscule in comparison to the vastness of the world. You'll realize that this life that you lead is just one life amongst billions, and every single person has a different life than you, and every single person has a different experience than you. And honestly, travel has been the easiest way for me to remind myself of those things. When I get overwhelmed, when I get frustrated with the little things that happen in my life, it reminds me that there are more important things in the world, that there are many beautiful things in the world. So remember, when you get stuck in your life and you get caught up in the rat race, Remember that the world is bigger than what you're experiencing. Travel and experience awe. The 14th thing I want to talk about is holding on to anger is poisonous. So learn to forgive others and, most importantly, yourself. Don't get me wrong, anger has its purpose. I think it's an incredibly useful emotion when you experience injustice, when you want to be motivated, but holding on to it for prolonged periods of time will eventually wear you down. The adrenaline it causes will tear your body apart. Trust me. When I was younger, I had an anger management issue and I got physically ill because of it. That is for a whole nother video. But that was when I learned that anger, when kept in the body for too long, is poison. And so forgiving others and forgiving yourself releases you from that poison. It's like the antidote. The key is you forgive others, just don't forget. You got angry for a reason, and that's okay. Just don't hold on to that anger. Make it a neutral memory, but don't forget the lesson that it taught you. Because sometimes people make you angry for a reason, and if you forget about it, you're going to keep letting them into your life. That's not the point of this. That's not the point of forgiveness. Forgiveness is just the act of letting go. And lesson number 15, put your mask on before putting a mask on anyone else. Or in other words, make sure to take care of yourself before taking care of others. Now, I'm not talking about greediness or selfishness. What I am talking about is giving from a full cup, not an empty one. Being generous and giving your energy to others is a great thing to do. But if you're giving from an empty cup, then it is not a sustainable effort and you will burn out. So make sure to take care of yourself. Stick to your boundaries, recharge when you need to, and don't burn yourself out so that you can prolong the act of helping others in a sustainable way. Lesson number 16, dream big, but back it up with action. So I know that a lot of people talk about Delulu being the Salulu on social media, and I just want to add to that phrase. Delulu is the Salulu as long as action follows. It's important to set your goals high because honestly, if the pandemic taught us anything, it's that literally anything can happen. So dream really big, but don't just sit there and hope the dream comes to you. Make sure your actions align to your dream. Lesson number 17, don't give up on yourself because you are capable of so much more than you realize. Again, this is kind of tied to the previous lesson where anything can happen. You are capable of making those things happen. If my 16-year-old self could look at me now, she would be in awe at all the things that have happened in my life and all the things I've been able to take on. And if when the times got hard, and trust me, it got really hard, I told myself to give up and let go, I would have never gotten as far as I have in my life. And so believe that you can do these things. Be your own cheerleader. Give yourself a chance. You might surprise yourself. Lesson number 18, failure is a part of success, not the opposite. So people love to think about failure as the antithesis of success, but the truth is failure is a part of the process of success. The people who are most successful are the people that have failed more times than you can count. The key is learning from the failure. If you do that, then each failure is a step to actually succeeding. So don't worry if you fail at something. Learn from it, and you're one step closer to actually meeting your goal. Lesson number 19. This is something I struggle with, but acknowledge how far you've come. It is so easy to get stuck in the grind of becoming the person you want to be. But we have to remember to look up sometimes and look back and just see how far we've come, see how far we've walked, how far we've run, how many battles we've won. Because that is a way to remember who we are. Acknowledging how far you've come will also help you enjoy the process. So remind yourself who you really are and what you've demonstrated you're made of. Doing that can give you energy for the next leg of the race. And then finally, the last lesson is do your best, then let go, and let the universe do the rest. As mere mortals, we can only do so much. So what I like to do is put all my effort in, do everything I can to get to where I want. And then when I feel like I've hit that limit, or maybe even past my limit, I let go of the wheel. And I go, hey, universe, I trust you to take over. Because we can't control everything. We can only control our actions. And when we leave faith and trust to the universe, well, that's where magic really happens. And that's where miracles and possibilities are infinite. So remember, allow magic in your life. We can't control everything. So having faith that it's going to work out and that the universe has your back is sometimes the best decision you can make. Again, as long as your action aligns. Be in partnership with the universe. Thank you so much for listening to all of that. I know it was really long, but I've learned a lot over the years. I hope that some of these things are going to be helpful in your own life. Please comment below, like and subscribe, and remember that life is built on small choices every day. Choose with intention and watch your life transform. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!